like you're fine, you know?
But I mean, I do like titty milk, so I do hunt for that. So
yeah, let's explain that to me before we get out of here. Explain the titty, because you do talk about that a lot online. You like drinking it, or what is it?
It's hard to get.
You like the rarity of it?
Yeah, no, I actually think it tastes good. It's just.
Oh, you're tasting it.
Oh my God. I don't like out of a bottle though. I think that's weird. But like I when I got into women, like when I really started hooking up with chicks, the first was, I was dating this guy who I cheated on, and he was a guy who moved to Toronto to live with me, but we were like, oh my God, oil and vinegar, fighting all the time, screaming matches. He would come home drunk, and I was playing online poker, and he'd be like, I didn't pick him up dinner. I didn't know it was my responsibility. He was just so drunk. He would be like throwing hamburgers at me. It was crazy. I started hooking up with this escort. I would titty fuck her. Like for 2 years, I would watch like titty fuck porn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this is really hot, but I never had the courage to do it. And then I found this one escort on Craigslist who I'd seen at the gym in Toronto, because you used to be able to get escorts off Craigslist.
Yeah. I used to look it up. Make no mistake.
Really?
Yeah.
Back pages.
Yeah, when I was like 15, I was like, I gotta get some pussy. But
yeah.
Sorry, keep going. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's cool. And then she actually ended up dying 2 years ago.
Oh.
She was a bodybuilder and had, she used so many steroids, but she had these big, massive tits. And I started titty fucking. So I really got into titty fucking from 2009 till about 2018. So for those 9 years, I spent so much money on escorts, titty fucking. But one escort in 2018, like, I don't know how I came across the lactation stuff, but I'm in Ottawa headlining a comedy club in Ottawa, Canada, nation's capital.
What an incredible run of sentences you just had there.
Yeah, ill. I remember I liked big areolas on women. She had these massive areolas, and they were so veiny, and I didn't know she was lactating. But I was sucking her tits right before I started titty fucking her, and I tasted some drops. I'm like, by chance, are you lactating? And at the moment in 2018, it's my favorite thing, and I'd never really had it. And obviously childbirth, but she's like, yeah, I just got done nursing a couple months ago, so she could still create little drops.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I just remember it being the hottest thing. And then another time after that, I hired someone, no sex, just she just given birth, and she was a masseuse, and we did the lactation thing. And then one more time after that, I hooked up with a chick. This was last year in Plano, Texas, when I'm doing House of Comedy. Shout out to House of Comedy.
Shout out to House of Comedy.
Yeah, there's a chick 20 minutes outside of Plano, 10 minutes outside of Plano. This is when I'm opening for Ryan Long. He doesn't know I did this. And I left the condo. I took a fucking Uber to her place, and she naturally lactates, which is not as hot as the other version. It's still fine, but yeah.
What do you want? You want it out the machine?
No, you want, she had a condition where she can lactate.
Oh, right, okay.
But usually when they're nursing from birth, it's a little bit thicker. It tastes like, it has a slight.
You're a connoisseur. I love it.
Yeah, what can you say? But yeah, so yeah, I've done it a few times and it's hot.
Well, folks, we are back with another motherfucking episode of the Practical Advice for Weird Little Guys Being Cool Too Long of a Title podcast. And folks, I am in all white today in my little Virgin Mary outfit because you had to wear it for the guest we got today. This fucking guy cracks my ass up. He's not a pervert, but ladies and gentlemen in the studio audience, clap your fucking hands for JJ Liberman.
Was that the intro?
Yeah, that was the intro.
Okay. You said it was a 2-minute intro.
I got a little ahead of myself. I just had a black coffee. I'm a little sauced and diced.
There is something when I have the coffee And like I'll time it before I do something like this because you're on another level of
Yeah.
energy. Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I sometimes I'll have a riff up top, and right in the middle of me doing the intro, I was like, I don't have a riff right now.
Is it like uncomfortable to do it? Because I would never want to do that. If I were to have to do that for someone, if I would do my own podcast, I'd do a solo.
Yeah.
But if I were to have guests, there's no way I would have the comfort level of doing that with someone who I know right beside me. Like if it's a stranger, I could do some crazy shit.
Oh no, I'll do it with my best friend. I do not give a shit. I'm trying to dance for these fucking pigs. You know what I mean? Give them a show.
Them or
these
people.
Okay. I'm trying to really make sure they know I'm giving my best here.
Well, it is interesting because you do. I was embarrassed about this, and then I saw you in all white. So
yeah, I kind of felt like I wanted to wear this today because it's a nice contrast. You know, I don't know why. I feel like all white is a good way. Sort of the devil and the angel.
It's Miami. It's Miami.
Yeah, we're kind of. I dress like a Coke dealer in the summer.
That's what it is.
You know.
And, well, I was gonna wear. So I was at a Exotica last week, which is like the porn convention.
Yeah, I saw that flyer.
So I was there in Miami, and Brazzers was there, and they gave T-shirts. And right before I came here, I'm like, yo, I put it on, and then I'm like, well, I don't know you well enough to where if I show up and then I don't know, you're like, someone told me you're a Chicago leftist.
Who the hell said that?
I don't know.
Eric Freddy.
I have intel.
No, the thing about me is I'm a deranged pervert and I hate liberals.
Well, I don't associate with anyone, to be honest with you, like in terms of like right or left, because I don't really believe anyone's either. I think everyone, again, like this is not to rip off Rogan, who you probably hate because you're a leftist, but
I love Joe. Shout out to Joe. I'll be on the pod anytime.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Like people are like, I hate this guy, and they're like, hey, you want to do the pod? And you're like, sure. But no, there's something that he said that I really believe that most people, if you really get them in a situation like this where it's just us talking, we're probably, whether you're right or left, you're probably pretty much the same.
Bro, I literally have said this on the pod before. It's like if you get into a 2-hour car ride with someone and you talk to them, you leave and you go, oh, we believe the exact same
Yeah,
thing.
most people are reasonable.
Yeah, besides like 2 or 3 core issues, but who fucking gives a shit?
Yeah, and also too, like most people with the core issues, they really don't care. And so I only know you because I met you once, and maybe I've like creeped out your pic.
Done a little crank in the meat.
No crank. But
I'll crank to an IG. I don't.
Will you? No,
Yeah.
That's what I said. Not yours, because I don't think there's been any good intel except the podcast clips.
Right.
But you never know. But that's what I was saying. Right when you're setting up, I'm like, yo, don't look at my phone, because if I find someone hot, like if someone hot posts a picture, like at a beach picture, I'll screenshot that picture.
Me too.
Okay, yeah. So it's normal behavior.
No, I think people see me and they think I'm this. It's like, no, dude, I'm completely out of my mind.
Well, I believe you. I believe you are too. I also think like anyone who's decent looking is probably a scumbag at some level, not in a bad way. Like you're not like.
Well, I'm from North Carolina. I'm from like the deep South, so
Oh,
I have
really?
like a lot of like Republican roots as well and shit. Like, I mean, I guess I'm like a leftist guy, but like I also want a gun.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm like.
So you like where in North Carolina, like Tobacco Road, like is that?
I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, but like, you know, all my friends are like rednecks with monster trucks and shotguns and AR-15s, you know.
And then you moved to Chicago to be a city boy.
To be like a comedian, yeah.
Was that weird to go to from somewhere that was like, because again, I'm from Canada. So the way
What is Canada like? I've never been.
It's honestly, I was raised in Toronto, and it's a great city. So Toronto and Montreal are very similar to like New York, and Montreal is actually similar more to like to a Paris. Like it's a very liberal in terms of like sex positive. Like Montreal is very sex. Like there's some of the best strip clubs in the world in Montreal. Like with the exception of then you go to Amsterdam or Berlin and they have like insanity. But you know, it's 18 plus and it's wild. It's like savage human beings live there, but it's very liberal.
Right.
So, but Toronto's like very multicultural. So I don't know anything but this like mindset. I don't know right wing. Like I don't know.
Right.
I don't know Republican mentality.
Right.
but people think I'm like a MAGA dude, but I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a reasonable human being, but yeah. So
That's how I feel. Yeah.
when I meet someone who is raised in completely different than me, it's so foreign. Like
Right.
the gun culture is crazy for me.
Really?
Well, we don't have guns in Canada. Like,
Really? I thought y'all were locked and loaded up there.
There's some people like, again, that one comic who moved down here, Danny. He's a West Coast kid.
Yeah.
He grew up in the sticks.
Right.
Yeah, but guns are so difficult to get a hold of there.
Right.
So it's not a gun culture. It's it's a very soft boy culture, which I like.
No, yeah, that's nice.
I'm a hard exterior, but I do like soft boys.
Amen, brother. Okay, now let's get it. So are you a bisexual man? What's your sexual orientation?
Oh, dude, this is so complicated. Are you? No.
No, I'm like 95.5, you know?
Yeah. 5% during college, right?
Yeah, like I would maybe every now and then I would like to like smooch Brad Pitt or something, you know?
Well, okay, so like my whole life, I just think, like I've explained this a lot. I mostly hooked up with dudes up until my 30s.
Mhm.
And then, but I was in the closet. So I was only hooking up with dudes on the DL. Like nobody knew.
And you were playing baseball at the
Yeah,
time?
I was playing baseball. I was living 2 lives. Like
Fascinating.
completely, like one life had no idea about the other life. Probably the gay life would know a little bit about my straight life because you stick out like a sore thumb. This is early 2000s. You stick out like a sore thumb when you're a dude walking around the gay area. Like I would go to the gay areas anytime I was like in a city that had one.
Yeah.
And I was always like looking around the corner, seeing if, I didn't want to get caught. But it was a different world where gay culture was very, at the time, effeminate. I don't spend time in clubs anymore.
You're not really gay presenting.
Yeah, people didn't know that. So I would always get like, they're like, are you straight? I'm like, what fucking straight dude would be walking into a gay club? So yeah, it was a weird, I was so scared about it would jeopardize baseball. So I lived like completely, I separated like, church
Were you
and
ever,
state.
like, fucking guys on the team or something?
Occasionally, yeah.
Wow, that's wild. That
Yeah.
rocks.
But I think that was like more of you're just in your 20s and guys are just absolute animals.
Right.
So, but now I came out during comedy, like on stage.
No way.
Yeah, I was just too frustrated. I was 35. It was like, I feel like it's such a lie. It was such a burden. You don't have nothing that burdened you in life?
Certainly, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I grew up incredibly religious, again, the South.
Oh, really?
So I grew up in like very repressed, and I spent
Catholic?
Southern Baptist.
Really?
Yeah.
So those singing churches?
Yeah, and like we would, my family didn't, but like people in my life would like speak in tongues and shit, and like, I like wouldn't touch women until I was like 20 because I thought I was gonna go to hell.
That's pretty cool though.
But that's why I'm such a horny psycho now, because I can't be repressed. And I
Right.
refuse.
I wouldn't touch women for other reasons, but yeah.
Because they're disgusting.
They're gross. They're pigs. No, I thought I was gay, bro. I thought I was like, and I don't think people realize how easy it is to get dudes, like when you're in that culture.
Right.
It's like people joke about it, but it was so easy that I never even thought about women. But then women, when I start talking about the gay shit, would like, this is before really Instagram was big, because I came out in 2015.
And you came out on stage. I'm sorry. I don't want to skip that.
Yeah.
You were on stage and you were like, you know what, folks? I'm fucking gay.
I was bombing my face off. This is like 2 years into comedy. I was bombing my face off. And I'm like, what do you want to hear? Like, I was like, you never had a meltdown where you're like, what do you want to fucking talk about? My uncle diddled like that kind of, I had a buddy who was diddled his whole childhood. I thought he was brilliant. No one else would laugh because he was so angry and he was steroided up. He was like, my piano teacher fingering my asshole. And I'd be at the back of the room, bro, just like, yes, this is gold. This is gold. And he's like melting down and sweating on stage. I'm like, keep on doing it. So
I love shit like that.
Yeah, I love it. It's what's beautiful in this. But
Can I say, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, one of the reasons I like you is you're so openly yourself about these things. I really appreciate it.
I think it's
You're authentic, and that's my number one thing in people.
I think it's mental illness. I don't think it's authenticity.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I don't think it. My brother is he's actually he's schizophrenic.
Okay.
Right? And I don't know, when you talk about the religious stuff, you're so close. Like you were so close to, how I don't want to say religion is crazy.
It is.
But there's some that's very cultish.
Mm-hmm.
And when I guess at some point and again, I don't know what it's like because I'm not religious, but I was raised by people who were fake religious, like conservative in religion.
Right.
And it's so phony to me. So when you see how, and now I assume you're not religious.
No, not at all.
So you see how close you are, you're so close to it, you understand it.
Yeah.
And I do feel that in terms of I feel like as comedians, we're a special kind of ill.
Yeah, certainly.
And I've been so high sometimes. I don't know if you smoke weed.
Oh yeah, I'm one of the great stoners of our time.
They're great. Yeah, they're writing books about you.
Yeah.
But I've been so high where the paranoia has kicked in, and it's like you can't shake the high. And I'm like, I think I'm schizophrenic too.
Right. That would trouble me, to be honest. If I knew that was in my family, I would have similar problem.
My uncle. I don't know the exact full story. My dad tells me. I don't know if he killed himself or he died, but he died right around where my age is now.
Interesting.
And they said, and my before my dad knew about me, and me and my dad have never talked about, but he knows it. Yeah. We've never had the conversation about the gay shit.
Right.
But one time, the first girl I ever dated was in 2017. And sorry for going on all these weird rants.
No, I'm loving it. This is fascinating.
So the first girl I dated was 2017, an OnlyFans chick. At the time, she was just a naked news anchor. And she flew down to Vegas with me. I met her. I was headlining a comedy club. A week later, she flies to Vegas with me. She was like a wild chick, so beautiful. I'd never thought about being in a relationship with a woman. And it's during the Super Bowl where Tom Brady made that epic comeback against the Falcons.
Yeah, 28-3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're at the sports book, and I'm a huge gambler. I played poker for a living for a couple years. We're at the sports book, and I'm with my dad placing a bet. This is right before the game. And my ex is with my stepmother who I'm like, is it cool I bring this chick with it? And they're like, okay, but they thought I was gay, but we've never talked about it. Right. So my stepmother goes to my ex, and me and my dad are like, I didn't hear this. My ex told me, she's like, we love the fact you're here, but we thought JJ was gay. And my ex is like, yeah, he's special.
He's retarded.
Yeah, he's something, but yeah. So, but that was also a really, it changed to not this, wrap this in a bow tie or whatever, wrap this up in a ribbon. But yeah, I never thought until 7 years ago that I would ever date a chick.
So let me ask you about that. Was that woman? That was the first woman you slept with?
No, I would fuck the occasional one, a beard. And it would be hot though, right?
Yeah.
But what turns me on is before I was telling you is I was hanging out with this chick last year in New York, and she smoked show, right? But she would hook up with other guys while we're kind of together. And to me, there's
and make you watch?
Yeah, there were times.
Yes.
There were times, but it was
I love that.
But even behind my back, and I guess people would say it's a cuck, but it's not an inadequate. It's a lot.
No, I'm let's get into it, bro. This is what I want to know about.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just there's just sexuality is insane. Again, I thought I was. Dude, in my 20s, I was dating dudes on the DL. I had I had a guy live with me. Yeah. He moved from Alberta, which is in Canada, flew to Toronto, Canada. And this is in between baseball and comedy. I was just bumming around, playing online poker, not really happy, really miserable, to be honest with you, when you're in the closet. I was suicidal, angry at the world. But I was dating this dude. who live with me. And even with that, it was so uncomfortable. Like, there's no way I could ever introduce them to my parents.
Right. And back then, being gay was like not, it was fine, but it was not like it is now where you're like, you get a red carpet.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you got I think the red carpet came when they legalized marriage. Right. And I feel like it's a phony red carpet. I think it's a lot even for me, it's like too much. Yeah. That's why I've disassociated with the scene. It's kind of, to me, how I feel people are phony with it, and it's very off-putting to me.
Yeah, do you feel like being gay is not as cool as it used to be? Because it's so mainstream.
Well, yeah, right. It's everything that was counterculture then becomes then becomes mainstream is not cool anymore.
Yeah, and now every white chick is like, I'm gay. It's like, no, you're not. You got a full-ass boyfriend. Shut up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the thing. And that's why I kind of don't like when you said, are you bi? I don't think it's bisexual, because it depends who you ask. Like, I talk about this on stage, but like, depends who you ask. Sure, and here in New York, you're bi, but like a lot of cultures in America, you're like, yo, I eat pussy, and they're like, yeah, but you also suck dick through glory holes, so you're gay as fuck, dude. But that's the truth, right? Like, they're not, you're not bi to them, so.
That is kind of how it goes, unfortunately. That is sort of like the bizarre rules we've established culturally.
Right, yeah. I mean, it is a cultural thing, so it's like, in definition, sure, bisexual, but again, it's weird, man. Like, sexuality is not that I know anything about it. I've never studied it. I listen to people talk about. Like, I've read. You ever read? What's the book about bonobos?
Oh yeah.
What's his name? I used to listen to his podcast. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Dr. Chris, not Andrews, but anyways.
I used to read all those books. Yeah, I did. Keep going. Yeah, we're very similar.
Yeah. So, well,
I went to sex therapy for many years.
Really?
I've had serious issues with sex.
Why? You became a deviant once you got out? I mean, because you're fairly good looking. That's probably why I followed you.
Well, no, you know what it was for me, bro?
I think I told Tyler, I was like, yo, your boy's good looking.
Oh, thank you, bro.
Yeah,
I appreciate
it. Good for you, yeah.
I appreciate it. Well, you know what it was for me, bro, is I grew up so religious again that I was so repressed. I couldn't get my cock hard for many years when I would sleep with women. So I always thought I was gay.
Really?
And then eventually I worked through it after many years of therapy. The listeners know this, but I try to just say it every episode. But it is like a core basis of my neuroses, I feel.
So it is so funny about life. You'll see someone from the exterior. Like, I'm like decent looking-ish.
Yeah.
But
You're a handsome fella, brother.
But I know I'm also a troll. Like, if you catch me, like, this angle is probably disgusting, right? But when you see someone, you'll see someone and you'll think, like, in terms of like physically, like, good looking, you always, obviously I watch the podcast and you're always in a good mood. Yeah. But then there is
a darkness.
There's a fucking darkness.
Darkness.
Man, when you get into someone's catacombs, bro,
yeah.
And you get layers into the mind, because you probably, when you were going through sex therapy with your little soft dick, you couldn't, like, it must have been morning and night, right?
Yeah, and I was hiding it a lot of the time, just pretending like everything was fine. But
really?
Down, I was like, I ended up like getting to the point where I was like petrified to have sex because of the shame.
Really?
Yeah. That's why that's why I have a whole show about getting pussy now.
Is this what it is?
Basically. I mean,
really?
We weren't really just about anything, but that was the basis.
I mean, it's like anything. It's like, well, it's like when they say, oh, you're a dirty stand-up comedian. You're like, yeah, all comedy's dirty, by the way. Yeah. You know, every podcast goes back to dicks or pussy. So how did you get over it? You took a Blue Chew or something? Like, I actually take these pills. We did work with them called Mango. It's the greatest dick pill in the, like, I don't.
I'll give it a go. I'll try a Blue Chew. I've had plenty of Blue Chews.
Really? And did that help?
No, you know what I did is I had like I went many years with this woman who like really helped me like get over the hump or whatever. But then I met this guy who was like a sex therapist, and we would do these crazy. I'm really big into meditation.
Yeah, so I meditate a lot too.
Me too. I do like TM and all this shit. But we would do these like gong meditations where this dude, we would like meditate about my cock and he'd bang a gong.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, he wasn't a therapist, bro. He was a gay dude. Yeah, sure. There's like, now it's time to get hard. Come.
Yeah, he was always in a bikini for some reason.
Yeah. Speedo.
But no, dude, he was like this crazy Buddhist dude.
Yeah,
that, like,
of course.
changed my whole life. It was
Really?
wild. Yeah.
Buddhism changed my life too.
Yeah, I'm sort of a Buddhist, I guess, if I had to pick one.
Everyone who's at one point some kind of religion goes to Buddhism because it's like it's the only one that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just far enough away to not feel gross.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, what they're talking about.
Well, I do every morning I do Qigong.
What's that?
It's like Tai Chi.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of Buddhists will do that. Like, Thich Nhat Hanh?
Yeah, I love Thich Nhat.
So like same kind of, I don't want to say people and come off racist, but I am. But
I know you're talking about.
They do like so it's just like every morning, like I have a routine in the morning, like I wake up, I take my dogs outside, get some vitamin D, and then I stretch, and then I do Wim Hof.
Okay, I know Wim Hof, yeah.
And then I'll have a coffee. So I'll get like, before I look at my phone, because I love looking at my phone.
Me too, bro.
It's like porn to me.
Me too.
Like even this morning, I woke up at 6 a.m. I was like kind of nervous because I'm like, I'm going to feel like shit for this podcast, but I went back to sleep. But it was at a time, I get up around 9, but it was like 6:30, 7. And I'm like, I can't sleep. So I just went on my phone and it's like, what a rush.
Oh, yeah. Just seeing tits and ass on the internet. And
yeah. Well, just even like the dopamine of refreshing. Like I've had to train myself.
The likes and the follows. Yeah.
You get crazy DMs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
From women and guys, right?
Both. Yeah.
And what do they say? You ever get death threats? I've gotten a couple of them.
Dude, I get people DMing me being like, who the fuck do you think you are? And then it'll be like a guy sending me his cock. And then it'll be like,
fantastic.
It's just, I get the whole human spectrum. It's wild.
So
you must be getting crazy amounts of like hog photos.
Everything. Women, guys. The first 2 weeks, I spoke to, have you had Che Rain on?
No, not yet.
He would do, he would do this. So about 2 weeks, so I went literally from 1,000 followers to 30,000 in a month.
Yeah.
And that was way too much for me. And it on the grand scale of everything, it means nothing. Like it really does. Like at the end of the day, I've realized that I'm just a fucking, literally a clown.
Right,
and
we're all clowns.
Yeah, we're all clowns. And if you can do this, and it's fine, right? Like I try to keep that mindset that I'm just like this piece of shit asshole.
Right.
Right. Just trying to make jokes. But I was, because of the mindset, we probably have the same problems in terms of like the sexual deviance and the dopamine and the rush for it and the desire. Like the same reason I do stand-up comedy for that instant gratification is the same reason I used to take edibles years ago when I first started getting high and like jerk off for 4 hours.
Nice. I have a similar problem.
For 4 hours. For 2.5 hours, I wouldn't even be hard. And
gooning,
I'm just...
That's what the kids call it.
Gooning. Yeah.
I've gooned plenty of times in my life, my guy.
Too many times. I'll maybe once every 2 months. I'm like, yo, dude, I'm in my 40s. Also, too, there's a point where you're like done after 4 hours and you're like, I feel like I just went through a Navy SEALs... like I'm sore. I don't like this feeling right now. I'm lightheaded. I'm like, I couldn't do that. But I was doing that when I first started getting high because of the
pleasure.
Oh, it was incredible.
Dude, yeah, I used to get to the point where like I just beat off and my dick would be soft and I'd still be coming because I'm just like so obsessed with like porn or whatever. Where I'm just like nutting out of my soft cock.
So yes.
Yeah. Bro.
Too many days. And like literally I would get up, I'm like, bro, you could have read a book.
Yeah.
You could have finished a fucking book and been smarter and funnier.
I think what I'm curious about is I want to know when you became comfortable with yourself sexually.
Oh, when it killed on stage.
And that's when you were like, fuck it. I'm gonna be me.
Yeah, because the people who I thought would hate me, still do hate me. But also, most people that I thought would hate me in that same group don't care.
Right, precisely.
Yeah.
I think that's what I find so interesting about you is that you know what most people would assume is hard to do, like being sexually open like that. I find very appealing. I'm like, good on you.
Yeah.
Because I had such a hard time with it for so long.
Really?
Yeah, I admire it. To be quite frank.
I don't know. This is all I know.
Yeah.
Like there's some people I admire brilliance. I admire like people who are like, you ever listen to, okay, here's a perfect example. I was watching, Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
So he's getting a lot of flack online because,
Going wild.
yeah, it's going crazy, right? Like it's
Yeah.
such a big thing. Like guys like Neil deGrasse Tyson are dunking on him. Eric Weinstein, and I watched that, him and Eric Weinstein and Terrence discuss like
did the
quantum,
debate.
quantum physics or whatever it is.
Why? It's like, why is Terrence Howard debating?
But still a guy who might be wrong on so many things. To me, even if he's wrong, the fact that he spends time like trying to understand this stuff and like be able to talk about it, even if like it's, even if he's wrong on certain things, like, but when I watch two people talk on a subject that I know nothing of, I'm like, how the fuck's your mind work like that? Like, we're not even at that point the same person. Like, I can talk about eating cum out of pussy, which people are like, that's crazy. And I'm like, yo, dude, these people are talking about
your own cum or someone else's?
No, someone else's.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
Absolutely.
Jason Giambi, they said, the Yankees baseball player.
Yeah.
I heard stories that he would used to like nut on chicks' tits and felch, which is crazy. I think that's heroic.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I see. I love shit like that.
Yeah.
Well, here's what I think. I think most people.
Not a lot of people do like hearing that, though.
Well, I think most people deep down are into that type of shit. It's the reason porn is so popular. I think everyone is doing this bizarre dance where they're like, not me. It's like, no, you too are a sick freak who wants to do something disgusting with someone else.
Well, I don't know if it's the way, like, we've been, like, was it society's decision, like, where people are like, this is TMI? Like, have we been raised to think that this is too crazy? Or has there been a culture like Sodom and Gomorrah?
Right.
But also
a Christian nation, et cetera, et cetera.
But I also do think, have you ever, the idea of hooking up with someone, like, so I'll give you the perfect example. So I'm hooking up with this one chick who's like sex positive, like no slut shaming.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Like,
you love it.
I'll fuck her right after some dude was literally just inside of her. The dream. This literally the dream.
That
It's
is
like,
awesome.
yeah, it's the dream. But then it gets too much.
What do you mean?
I went to Hedonism. It's a swingers resort in Negril, Jamaica.
Yeah.
So everyone's naked and they're swinging. And the idea of it is very hot. But the concept of like, this is an actual lifestyle, like every day, like,
that is actually how I feel. I'm like, you got to take it easy.
You got to take it easy. Just chill out.
Be a pervert all you want, but you can't be doing it 30 days a month.
It's too much. I just think it's like food too. I love
precisely.
I love snacks. I love July 4th last week. We did a rooftop, like me, a couple of comics, a couple of girlfriends, right? We did the rooftop. We're barbecuing, barbecuing, ordering pizzas, bringing cookies, bringing like cakes and everything. And I had to go on stage later that night. And I went back to it. And I'm standing on stage and I just ate so much garbage. I can feel like, for the last 20 something years, I've been training hard. Like I've done like mixed martial arts, baseball, and I train all the time. And I feel every sore part of my body, every part that has been injured. Like I've had surgery. I have a hernia right now. Everything is inflamed. And I'm like holding on to the pole, like this stand-up pole, like in so much pain. And how could you do that? I have buddies that are just fat pigs and I love them to death. And I'm like admired that they can eat like that every day.
But you need some moderation.
Right. And that's how I feel about sex.
So, but you're also flying to Jamaica and going to swinger orgies.
I had a free trip to do
Okay.
when I was dating the naked news anchor. So I went down there, free trip for the week.
Let me ask you this. What are you into sexually? Is it just the most disgusting thing you can think of?
No. Ideal situation is to watch two hot people, 25 years old, fuck. And I'm just like
and then you come in afterwards.
Not even necessarily. I could just like this. Like that. Not even.
Who the hell is mad about that?
Yeah, it's fun.
I've never like watched anyone fuck in a room, but I feel like I totally could.
Dude, I have not only watched, I have, this is like, go back to the gay days. I'm at hookup culture is crazy. I'm at this club in Toronto, and I would still go out even though I was closeted. I was just very nervous. But I also realized if someone saw me there and I saw them there, that's like, yeah, right.
It's like, what's up?
But there are occasions where you go places and they're good. Like, for example, I used to strip in DC, a place called Secrets in Ziegfelds, which closed in 2020. And I would take the train from Baltimore. I was going to college in Baltimore County. And I would take the train. And on the weekends, I would strip this club. And there was this ecstasy club called Nations. And there would be 5,000 to 10,000 people every Saturday night. People would go there for dancing.
Whoa.
Yeah. So it was just like, so there was like the off chance you might run into someone from Baltimore because of this epic ecstasy club. This is before people call it MDMA. Everyone was just calling it ecstasy.
Yeah.
People now just say MDMA.
Yeah.
Or Molly, right?
Yeah.
Nobody calls it ecstasy, do they?
Yeah, I think Molly's just like probably the go-to.
Yeah. But then everyone like called ecstasy, and it was like this ecstasy and K. People would like go into K holes all the time.
Yeah.
I was a sober guy at the time. But I was always nervous that someone would be there and they're like, oh, I'm just here. And I was stripping in a gay club. And the other side was a drag bar, but I needed my end. I didn't have money, and I would do it. And I also like being the reason I do comedy, like the center of attention, but in that gay culture, and I could get dues. I was like heavily like driven by testosterone.
Right. Of course.
So
get your dick sucked.
Yeah. I just want to hook
I'm
up.
familiar.
Yeah, I just want to hook up and like but yeah, I don't know what even the question is.
I forgot too. I think I was just asking about I think what I want to know.
I know what it was. The ultimate sexual experience.
Yeah.
But there was a time like I would hook up. I would be in a club in downtown Toronto, and I just met this other dude with his friend from Detroit, and there was just this other random dude, and we all went back to the hotel and just on different beds. We're just fucking, and that was hot. And then I've been to like orgies, which was like, again, it was a little too much for me.
I feel like I couldn't handle an orgy.
Yeah, it was a little too much. I'd rather just go into a side room. But yeah, it's still wild times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think now that as you've kind of like, grown out of your past and you're like a little more comfortable being yourself, do you feel like you're like, that's easier for you now?
No, I think what happened was that why I've toned down. I mean, I'm open about it, but why I toned down, I was like, I grew up during the AIDS crisis.
Oh, right.
Before PrEP.
Right.
The AIDS mainly in the 80s, but it carried over.
And PrEP is even pretty new.
Until PrEP.
Yeah.
The same behaviors were happening in gay culture. Like and what was scary about when I was in the closet, so this is 99, 2000, 2001, you'll see people who were on the original cocktail or the early cocktails of HIV.
Yeah.
So have you ever seen someone who was like from the early 90s?
Just like photos. I've never met anybody, but yeah.
So like they would have no body fat. Their arms and legs would be super vascular and no fat. And it would all be in the torso, and it would be bloated because they were like on steroids and human growth hormone. Faces would be sunken in.
Yeah.
But you would see some of these guys who were like, literally like, I would go on like dating sites, hookup sites. There was craziest hookup sites like gay.com, manhunt dudes.
Gay.com,
Yeah.
whoever got that domain is doing just fine now.
I don't think so anymore. Nobody goes there. Everyone's on Grindr. But there would be like,
Gay.com.
what about
fire.
like manhunt, dudes nude? Like,
yeah.
but people,
It's nude.
Yeah, it was insane.
Specificity.
But there would be people like that would be like asymptomatic. They would put like HIV pause, asymptomatic, 15 years, 10 years. But you would see this HIV look.
Right.
Like the Dallas Spy, like
That's
McConaughey.
Exactly I'm thinking McConaughey and Dallas Buyers Club.
But he was just like skinny. They were like skinny, but there was there was that look, but there was also, I actually hooked up with a dude in Phoenix once. This was when I was college, and I remember it. And I went to his place, and I was so horny, but he had that look. And his dick was like 10 inches big. I don't like to get fucked or nothing, but I was like still like impressed. and I wanted to give him head, and there was like, it was so big, it was like a fucking arm, but there was a moment where he's like, I don't think this is like. I felt like he kind of like did me the favor. He's like, nah, it's
right. He kind of knew he might fuck you over.
Yeah, but a lot of people didn't care.
So wait, are you topping?
Yeah. When I was fucking guys, yeah.
Okay, are you not fucking guys anymore? Or what are you doing?
Too scared, man. That's what I'm saying. Like my whole point is, I went from like 2005 was the last time I got tested to 2012. And in those 7-year period, I couldn't get tested once. I was too scared.
Right.
And I lived every day and every night thinking I was HIV positive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, bro.
Crazy, bro.
Oh, man.
Then when you got tested, were you like, thank God?
Thank God. I fucking cried. Like
I would have cried, yeah.
And then 6 weeks later, I had unprotected sex.
That's the shit I be doing, dog. I'm raw dogging people I have absolutely no business.
Well, that's why I would say, like, I was too trustworthy. But you're a kid, you don't
when
get
you got
it.
your dick in your hand, it's so hard not to raw dog.
First of all, it is so hard. Yes,
quite literally.
It was very hard. No, and I would, dude. I know. I've told it at least 3 people who I fucked unprotected that I found out afterwards they were HIV positive.
Wow, that is so frightening.
And so I don't know if they lied to me or they just didn't know their status at that time.
Yeah.
3 minimum.
And so for years you're just going,
I have to be.
Yeah, I'm doomed.
Like I would have these, like, you ever see those, like, you ever get those, like that, like the hemoglobin spot, like that little red spot? I would think that was the start of an HIV outbreak.
You're taking an edible, you're 40 milligrams deep, looking at yourself in the mirror like, I've got AIDS, I'm going to die.
Even before before weed, I was sober, and I was like, that's why I have like terrible anxiety now. Right. And to loop it back to my brother with schizophrenia, like sometimes I'm like, bro, I could see how this goes down. Like without, like my brother's in the hospital right now. Right. Like he's forced into the hospital. And I could see, like, I'm like scared that, yo, this could go down a dark road. You don't feel like, are you paranoid?
No. Well, let me ask you this, though, because I have similar problems with my family. Do you feel shame and guilt about your life in comparison to your brothers?
No.
You're just like, it is what it is.
Oh, I don't. I feel so lucky. Yeah, I don't feel shame and guilt.
That's kind of how I had a lot of guilt early on, but now I feel lucky.
I guess the gay shit, I don't know. I'm kind of like,
I also don't mean to boil you down just to your sexuality, but it is.
It's a big part of. There's not. I mean, again, if you want to sit here for 4 hours, we can, but I don't. Right. So,
right.
And that's what's so great. And I think every podcast, like that's why, I do Ryan's podcast all the time, the Boys Cast.
Yeah.
You're multidimensional, but the truth is, like, just look at Jordan Peterson as 3 things, right? Like look at Jocko Willink, look at Goggins. It's still the same 3 things, 3 philosophies. No, it is what it is. And through that, there's been like some fascination, the Luca Magnotta, Eric Newman, the guy who don't fuck with cats. I mean, that's just a window. Because of this, it opened up into this, window of, I knew a guy who's like arguably one of the most notorious killers in Canada.
Yeah.
It's a buddy of mine, like this.
Yeah.
A little weird, though.
What was that like?
But he was a little shy boy.
When you found that out. Your life is so interesting.
And that's the other thing I actually disagree with. I think if you were to sit down with anyone in the world,
right,
and you literally let them talk for 3 hours, and you have some kind of like you've hypnotized them to just be brutally honest.
Yeah.
You'll hear some of the most fucked up or fascinating things. That's why I used to think I was like, you go through this phase when you start doing comedy, you're like, I'm unique. And you're like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Everyone. And then you see people who are bad at what we do, and they're really bad, and they've maybe done it 3 times, and they're like, you think you're unique? That person thinks exactly like you. So it's a bad thought to have.
Yeah.
So no, there's cool stories, but I don't think, like, again, I mean, there's people who will sit down. I even for me, I think it's fascinating to do like the Southern Baptist Church and what's that like. And even like the shame of, I'm sure because of the shame, there's some fucking dark roads.
Oh yeah. That's why I literally just asked you about shame and guilt. I'm like, do you ever experience that? I agree, though. That's why I love podcasting. I love finding these things out about people and getting into people's neuroses and.
Well, I mean, neurotic. I'm very, and that's again everything ties to the center. shame and guilt. No, it's just not me to like. It's hard because we were talking about Danny Marnello, like the Canadian comic. Is like
comedian. Follow him right there.
He's like this bro comic. Like my growing up, when I was in the closet and I knew something was off, right? Like gay culture was a mainstream culture, right?
Yeah.
Guys didn't kiss on TV. You didn't see this. There was no like DEI for television shows. Like Beverly Hills 90210 was what I grew up on. Was 5 white people, straight white people,
right?
And maybe they had a black character once in a while,
right?
So gay was so not in the realm, right? Maybe there was episodes about it, but not often. Degrassi, there was a guy with AIDS.
Yeah,
the original Degrassi, but it was like such a like that. It was like so taboo that I guess I got so not angry at the scene, but I also was not received well when I was in the closet. People tried to out me. Right. So I have anger towards the community. So I never ideally thought that I would be with a guy like who's like an effeminate twink, even though like I was fucking them like by the hundreds. But that wasn't, but behind closed doors is like kind of like hooking up with a chick who's maybe what I would call a slump buster.
Right.
Yeah, sure, I'll hook up with you, but I don't want to be seen with you, right? Which is not good, but it's just how it is.
Very human, I understand.
Yeah, it is what it is. But that was shameful. Like I would never hold a guy's hand in public. Right. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable, and maybe that's a me thing, but that's just how I am. So yeah, sure, there's probably shame to that. Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about and I'm not trying to wrap it up, but I'm so interested in how do you feel about this journey you've had because you've gone through so many I feel like you've had so many different phases of your life.
Oh yeah,
do you feel like you're kind of finally out of the phases and you're really JJ Liberman, or do you feel like you're like still?
I don't even know.
I mean, who the fuck really knows about that?
That's the thing. Like I just know, like I know if a meltdown's coming. Like I had a meltdown yesterday. I know if a meltdown's coming. Very rare. I used to have them like weekly because I was so angry. I used to have like screaming matches. Like I loved. Like the one thing I always would say, I love going to war with people. Even now, there's still that portion of it, like just like an in face to face, just a fucking screaming match. Oh, I live for those, but I don't have those anymore. But I used to like love them. But once in a while, like you'll be really angry. Like right now, it's hot. It's hot outside. Yeah. You're walking the streets of New York. People are angry. Yeah. You're like, oh, my chi is thrown off right now. But that's why I meditate and stuff like that. And to like go back to the other thing, like you have a little success in this, and then right away you like think, oh, I could be doing this in 6 months. And that's what fucked me up with crypto. Like I never sold. Yeah. I never sold. I had more money than I ever had in my life.
I also blew a lot of money on crypto. You're not going to look at me. You're not going to believe it. I fucked up my money with crypto.
$40,000 twice, man. God damn. 2 different times.
Okay, I would admit like $6,000, but okay.
When I needed it too.
God damn.
Yeah. But that's how your mind sets, and you get out of the moment and you're like, yo, dude, I mean, the thing... That's why I like cold shower. That's why I breathe. That's why I fucking meditate, because I'm too much of I feel my mind can
carry you out.
Yeah.
I have the same problem.
Well, dude, like when I go on my phone to go message someone, next thing you know, I forgot to message that person, and I'm just DMing someone on Instagram.
It's literally me, bro. Yeah. It's like the titty to porn to DM pipeline for me, where I get horny, I go look at porn, I get off the porn, I go to my phone, I try and fuck some chick.
Right,
then I forget I even like her in the first place. I don't respond to her text for 4 days, and she hates me and tells all of her friends about me.
Is that, do you still do you chase a lot? I guess you don't want to.
I can't stop. It's like
really?
I think it's a big problem for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Still?
Oh yeah, I like
fucking
I have no desire to be a boyfriend. I just love having just random sex with people.
Really?
It's really bad. And
I actually used to hook up a lot, and I still could, right? Like I could go on Grindr right now, and like I actually was hanging out with this like 21-year-old, and he came to a show 2 weeks ago, which I didn't mind. I don't care if he comes to a show, and but we didn't fuck, and I feel like, dude, I have to, like, because of all this HIV scares, I'm like, I gotta know now.
Right,
I have
to get it up front.
Yeah, I gotta, and that's why also women, I feel much more comfortable. It's like next to impossible to catch it from women.
Yeah.
That's why kind of I prefer women.
It's because of the HIV?
Yeah.
It's not the titties in the ass?
Nah, it's fine. No, but it's also too like if you fucked a chick, I would love to fuck the chick after and say, yo, tell me about it. Was it great? Isn't that, I don't know. I find that very hot. But,
You know, I don't think I've ever done that, but I think I could probably get into that as well. There's something, I like filth, you know, I like being filthy and disgusting.
filthy's hot.
Yeah, there's something nice about being like, we're not supposed to be doing this.
Yes. I don't like smells though. I don't want nobody to like, so this chick, OnlyFans, she fought when I started catching heat on first couple of videos going viral. This smoke show, she DMs me and she's like, and she starts sending me pictures and I'm like, yo, this is the greatest thing ever. We're going to fuck. She totally knows about the gay shit. She's totally cool about it. Then I get a video when I'm at a comedy club and I watch it later and it was just her doing this. She was farting into the camera. I'm like, you fucking, why? What? That's, you think I'm the fart guy? That sucks. She was so hot too, and
You're think like, I'm not the fart guy. I mean the come out of another woman's pussy guy.
Thank you. Yeah, like, geez, I'm not the fart guy. I hate that. You think I'm that gross of a human being that I'm into flatulations? I hate that stuff. I hate couples that are into fart play. My ex used to. The only chick I ever dated, she would just be sitting on the bed and just let one rip and. It's not endearing. You're a fucking 10.
I don't like it either. Get it together.
Yeah, go to the bathroom.
Would you let someone like shit on you?
No. But that's the thing.
Me
I hate, man, one time I turned a trick. I never turned tricks even when I was stripping. But I was in college and I was so broke. This is when I was playing with this 2004, some dude off gay.com. He's like, man,
my favorite website. I love
I don't know if it exists for hooking up anymore. It definitely exists.
Whoever got that. Sorry.
But yeah, it was funny because you would go in these chat rooms and they would max out at 100. So if you're in a popular area like Toronto or Chicago, you couldn't get in. So you'd be in like the second or third Chicago 3, and there's only like you and 2 other losers, and everyone's like leaving and trying to enter back in Chicago 1 for where all the dudes are. And then it would be like back into 3. And you're like, no, back
into queue. You're in a gay queue.
You're in a gay queue. That's how it was. Gay.com, gay queues. And some dude off gay.com, when it was the central New York room, because I was going to college in upstate New York, he like, I'll give you money to worship your toes. I'm like, I was so broke and I hate I hate feet too. Yeah. But I was like, for $200, he gave me $200. And this is like 2004 or 2003. 2003 was my first year. Because 2004, I would start going to the strip clubs. I would take the train during the long holidays to DC and I would strip there. And he gave me $200 to just rub my feet. He was like, I was on the bed, just looking at this. And he was like, good looking dude in good shape. He's probably 28, 29. He's just on the floor and my feet were dangling over the bed. And he was just like rubbing them. I don't know if he put my toe in his mouth. Fucking disgusting. Like, how do you not call him a dirty fag? Which he probably would have loved. And he just like, I didn't see it, but I guess he just nutted on the floor while he was rubbing my feet. And he drove me back to college and gave me $200. I was like, this is great.
Well, all right, folks.
Action packed, right?
That was such a great, JJ, give me a fist bump.
Yeah,
that was
good, dude.
Fucking awesome. You are awesome, bro. You really cracked my ass up. I really find you to be just the man, to be quite honest with you. I want you to do one more thing for me. This is what we do at the end of every episode.
I was about to chew gum, but go on.
Put the gum in if you want.
Okay, cool.
Because it is the Practical Advice for Weird Little Guys episode. And I like to ask you.
I like the name too, because I do my podcast, the greatest podcast for elite losers.
Oh, well, I told you, we're so similar, bro. We're literally so similar.
Scary, right?
But give the people one piece of advice. It doesn't even have to be about sex. It can be about literally anything. Just give them one piece of advice that you think every person should know.
My best friend, Ollie Modami. It's not a unique thing. It's very mainstream, but I heard it from him. He's in Major League Baseball, one of my closest friends. This dude, I had no shoes last year, or my first year in New York City, he bought me a new pair of shoes. And I love him to death. He's like literally like a brother amongst brothers, right? He once told me as we're in the car, he called me LaRue because I always, my poker name, when I sign up, is LaRue, like my online handle. He would go, LaRue, front to back. And I never heard it. I said, what do you mean front to back? He's like, when you wipe your ass front to back so your balls don't smell like asshole. And it's like a mainstream thing, but I was just leaving the car, and he would always drop me off, pick me up. I never had a car, and he's dude. But yeah, front to back.
Front to back.
Front to
folks.
back. Always wipe your ass front to back. Which is an obvious one. In fact, actually, let's go one further. This is a true piece of advice. About 2 months ago, I bought myself a bidet for my house.
Oh yeah.
Do you have one?
Oh, absolutely. Game changer.
You cannot live as a human being if you've bought a bidet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you cannot operate in non-bidet
I
situations
save
anymore.
my shits for when I get home. Yeah, I can't. I'm not going to shit out in public now.
Wiping your ass
It's disgusting.
is disgusting.
Disgusting.
As a man who's munched on many an asshole, but that's another thing. Like, I would never go near an asshole that hasn't been like thoroughly washed or bideted.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but wiping ass is gross. Like,
It's disgusting.
I once heard Big J say it, or I think Rogan said it. They were talking about wiping ass. Imagine if you had a piece of shit in your hair. Would you just take a napkin and just smear it?
It is crazy. And then we're just doing it all the time. It's like
Disgusting.
Get it together, folks. What
Yeah.
are we doing?
Bidets are, so that would be the actual one. How long did we do?
I mean, we did about an hour. We'll probably cut a little bit. We probably did about an hour. Well, do this for me though, JJ. Plug your shit. We put it all at the end here. Plug your IG.
JJ Lieberman Live. Liberman Live.
Get your website. Any dates you got
I
coming
don't
up?
have a website.
Nobody
yet.
has a website. I'm literally just talking.
Dates? Well, hopefully dates start.
This will probably be out in like 2 weeks.
No, but I'm saying like date. I haven't thought about doing headlining stuff.
I don't have any dates either. Don't feel
Yeah.
weird. I don't mean to make you like I don't have shit on the calendar besides a show would come on everybody.
Yeah.
Well, what an absolutely excellent episode, JJ. You are the man. I really
Thanks,
appreciate
man.
you.
I appreciate
coming
it.
on,
Yeah,
dude.
I appreciate.
I really admire you.
I didn't know if you would do this.
What.
Well, I DM'd you. I'm like, yo, you want pod? I didn't know if you would. I
No.
thought I might be a little bit too different.
No, bro, you're perfect. To be honest, I was getting ready to ask you. You're
Really?
literally perfect
Sick.
for this. You're like the type of guy I'm trying to have on this thing.
Sick.
Yeah, that's been it, folks. What an absolutely electric episode. JJ's the man. Follow him. We put it right here one more time. And guys, you know the deal. Here, I'm about to get a little leftist on you. Shout out to all the theys, thems, queers, gays, straights, Arabs, Jews, etc. Everyone but the Zionists. And that's been the episode, guys. We'll see ya next week.
Good thing I didn't tell you I'm a Zionist.
I know, I figured we might disagree there, but whatever.